we're back. Although I'm in the wrong place. Why can't I press the right buttons, Andy? This driving me mad.
Oh, it's hopeless, isn't it?
I can't. I'm just going to do that now. That'll be easier.
There you go.
Good evening, everyone. YouTube boys, welcome. I know we've been noticeable by our absence, but as all of you will be able to attest to, real life gets in the way. Family, friends, and sometimes, there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything you want to get done. So that's why we've been a bit absent. We've not been able to, shall we say, align our schedules, enough to be able to get some decent content. We've sat down, we've had a chat before we came live, and hopefully that's the end of that now. And now we can start getting you some decent content, getting you out regular videos again, doing what we've promised and providing you all some cracking content. So we do apologise for our absence, but we're back now. Andy, how are you, my man?
You know what? When I messaged you guys the other day, I was just sitting there at home and I was like, I want to come back. But like what you said, like family, jobs, anything's more important. And it just proves, we'll probably find out in a few minutes when people start commenting, we've not lost any subscribers. So people understand that these things happen. And we've done an international break, but for a month instead of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's true. Stevie, well, my man, how's retirement and golf treating you?
Very good, actually. I played golf today, got frozen. Retirement's lovely. I mean, I've not been about because obviously I've been getting James off to university and getting them all set up and started.
Yeah.
And that's, as much as I love doing this, that's got to come first.
As like you say, he's off to uni. First time he's been, away from you guys for any real extensive length of time, and it's going to be a bit of a kick, isn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't easy getting used to it, but he came home at the weekend and, as in typical student fashion, ate everything he could see and lounged around and watched the rugby with me. So, he's doing well. I'm very proud of him. So,
I bet it was good to have him back, though, wasn't it?
It's amazing. Well,
even if it was just for a few hours.
Yeah, he's got a reading week in November, and then he's got projects or assignments to do in January. So we'll get him back for a week in November, and then we'll get him back about mid-December, and he won't go back to uni until Feb.
Oh, it's like he ain't been away.
Yeah, and then he's back in May for 4 months. I mean, it's terrific, actually. I love it. Good.
Right, guys, those that are watching, we've got 7 watchers at the minute. We've not had any comments yet, which is, quite interesting. But for those 7 of you, please hit the like buttons. And if you haven't already done so, jump over to either of the 2 channels. We're live simultaneously again. So jump on and give us a like on the videos and subscribe as well to each channel, seeing as we've got that going on. Andy, I understand you've got us a little slideshow presentation that you've put together. I love it. What we're going to use this video for, guys, this show as a little kind of midway to the midway. Is that right? Midway to the midway point of the season, I think it is. It's about halfway through the first half.
Yeah,
so
a quarter of the way through.
Yeah.
So it's a quarterly periodically review.
Yeah.
Something like that. Didn't really
so that means I've got to do one before Christmas now to level it up a bit, and then one in March.
Yeah,
we're going to have to commit to that now. That's game on.
The problem with us guys is we're going to have to remember. We're going to have to remember.
I'll put it in my calendar. I'll put it in my calendar after. That'll be fine.
Okay, good. Well done.
We're going to have to. So, Jordan, Andy, what do you want to kick us off with?
Well, I want to kick off with something because without this happening, I don't think we'll be where we are today. And I'm going to start off with Declan Rice departs West Ham United. When you think about it now, bear in mind, so what is it now? 16th of April. Don't that seem like a long, long way away when you went now, when you think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again was looking at looking at some stuff and yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for him, obviously, then we wouldn't be where we are. And by that I mean conference winners last year. I know he didn't have the greatest of games in the final, but he still, how can you put it? He still was a big part of why we got there. He was still a big part of our situation in getting to Europe for the 2 seasons that we previous that we have, and even it was kind of crucial to getting us there again this season. So for all the bad mouthing I've done personally, and I have, there's been a lot with regards to Declan Rice. I've not exactly been a staunch supporter of him over the last few months, comments that he's made, etc. But again, not necessarily this season, and we'll get to that with what I know is going to be coming up in a minute, Andy. But he was integral to where we are now as a club. Through European campaigns on the spins, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go on, Steve, mate.
Well, I mean, he's gone. He did say some, how can I put this? He did say some unfortunate things, which I would think in retrospect, so he probably wishes he hadn't. And I'm going to give him a pass on that, because he's a youngster and young people do daft things. I know I was that young once and I did daft things. He's done a lot better at Arsenal than I expected him to be honest. But yeah, him leaving has actually galvanised the team. Kufel came out and said, didn't he? He said, what we did was we just left it to Declan to do all the stuff. And now they're not. Now they're a more coherent team. Alvarez, and in many people's opinion, and possibly mine as well, is a better defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you take Souček and subtract Rice, what do you get? A goal scoring midfielder.
I thought I was just going to say potato salad, but
potato salad as well, obviously. But Souček's a different player.
He scored the penalty. Did you see that penalty he scored last night? Sorry to interrupt, Steve. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. No.
He scored the winner for Czech Republic. He scored a penalty last night and smashed it. So, well done, Mr. Souček.
Fair play
actually, Rice going. I mean, he was an excellent player, but so many other players now he's gone and aren't accommodating him are now excellent players again, like Souček. And I think him leaving has actually done us a favour, both financially and in terms of the team. Yeah,
no, definitely. But obviously I'm jumping ahead. Obviously, we've got a great person to take set pieces now, and I think this next man probably would have thrived on it. If I'm being perfectly honest. Obviously, Scamacca leaving. Me personally, I'm very disappointed when you see Mubama's not been getting the opportunity and Ings has. So that's the bit what's getting to me more than anything else. But I think he wasn't settled, but just another one what got away, which means we'll see like the 180th striker we've had since Sullivan and Golder took charge, and another one what's gone out the door.
It was homesickness, wasn't it, more than anything else, from what I understand?
From what I get, I think it was his family couldn't settle, so they went back home and he followed or something.
Which is, look, it happened. I think he was a hell of a striker. Some of the finishes he pulled off were really, really good. But if you can't settle and it's family, it's like what we said at the start of the video, isn't it? Family's more important than anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
do you want to add anything, mate? Do you want to add anything, Pete?
No, I'm just going to agree with you, mate. He, I think with Ward-Prowse coming in, he would have been you know, a huge part, would have played a huge part this season with the set plays. You know, Ward-Prowse has been absolutely fantastic since he came in with his deliveries and everything else he does. Kind of disappointed, like you say, that Ings is getting more game time than Obama, but then the way that Moyes chased Ings, and we know he did over the years, it's hardly surprising. You know, he's gone and got his man, and it's hardly surprising that he wants to use him. So it's, you know, it's for me, it's one of them. But again, he's another player that if he doesn't go, if Rice doesn't go, and the man that comes up next on the screen doesn't go, well, then there isn't the funds to go buy the players that we've bought in. And we're going to talk about those individuals. I'm not going to drop it now, but, you know, if they don't leave, we don't win the quality that we have. So it's that kind of catch-22 situation. You know, if we don't sell Scamacca, do we still bring in James Ward-Prowse, for instance? It's that kind of, then it wouldn't have mattered if he'd stayed because you've got no one to deliver the ball. So it's kind of been, I am kind of grateful that, you know, by letting them go, we've actually strengthened significantly.
No, definitely. I forgot a man. I won't really sit here and talk about him, to be honest. I think we've talked about him a lot in the past. Very disappointing because whenever I've seen him play, I thought he was okay. But unfortunately, players don't. When a manager doesn't get along with the player, it's normally the player who goes. They're not going to sack the manager because of one player. But it was just. I think it was just a panic buy. Remember that, Duke, when we done it on deadline day when he signed, wasn't it? Pretty much. Remember?
I'm disappointed, mate. I am very disappointed that he was one that that didn't work out. You know, there was a lot of I'm not going to say hate towards him. There was a lot of hate towards his transfer fee from certain people, certain channels that are out there, and I'm not digging. I get where they're coming from with regards to, you know, some of the fees that were kind of expounded that we spent, what kind of money we spent, but essentially we only spent £18 million on him, and I don't even think we ended up paying that because of what happened with Ukraine and Russia. So I'm not even sure we ended up having to pay that, but I think that's going to be the total if we are commanded to finish the transfer, then it's only going to be 18 million. It's not going to be the 35 or
oh no, it's nowhere near that.
They were the add-ons. There was significant add-ons that if he scored X amount of goals, if West Ham, you know, won trophies, which we did, but I don't think that was a huge add-on because I don't think we expected to do it. So you know, £18 million was what we spent, which, you know, kind of disappointed again. Another player that I look forward to seeing a lot from, and it hasn't worked out. It didn't work out for him, and again, it just seems to be a repetitive thing with players that we're bringing in. Were bringing in. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Do you know what? I've got a different view on him. I think he was a nice guy, but I just don't think he was Premier League standard.
They're not.
No,
we didn't play him in his position properly, though, Steve, did we?
No, and that is the mitigating factor, isn't it? He wasn't played in his proper position, but I don't know. It's one I can't firmly say he wasn't Premier League standard because he wasn't played in his proper position.
Yeah,
it just didn't work for him, and sometimes it doesn't. What can you say?
Right, let's move on to more exciting times, and that is we signed this man.
Oh,
beast.
Wonderful player.
Yeah.
He needs one more yellow for a suspension, though. So
I'd rather him get that on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
He's been an absolute. He's been a rock, Andy. Like, I think his nickname is the Machine, isn't it? So, and he is. I think he's okay. Yeah, he likes a yellow. There are some reckless stuff in there, and it's frustrating at times. But hopefully it's just something that he's adjusting to the Premier League. But I really, really enjoy watching him play. I said it in the video before we took the break. His head's always on a swivel. He's always on the lookout for danger. And, looking 3 or 4 moves ahead, like I said about Declan Rice many times, looking 3 or 4 moves ahead for, what happens if he does receive the ball, where are his options? And Steve, you mentioned it earlier, you get Souček, subtract Rice, you get a goal-scoring midfielder. Well, you've got a player here that doesn't have, and I will say it, delusions of grandeur, like Declan Rice did. At West Ham, he wanted to be that free-flowing goal-scoring midfielder, which then kind of ballsed up what we had the 2 previous seasons. So, but with Alvarez, he likes to sit, he likes to hold, he doesn't move. Like, very rarely will you see him go on a marauding midfield run. We don't see that as often from him as we did from Rice. So, no, I think he's a cracking signing. He kind of fits the bill of having a irritating bastard in the squad like we used to have with
he loves a 3-point turn in his area as well, which he's known to.
I mean, if we can work that out of him, that'd be great, because I don't think I can suffer too many more mini strokes every time he does it.
I tell you what, I love watching him play. You sit there and that there's just 100% commitment to his job on the pitch and to the game and to the team. He is, that's what makes us fans love a player, isn't it, at West Ham? What he does. And I think he's brilliant. I just he gets stuck in. In some ways, he reminds me of Billy Bonds, the way he plays. 100% commitment, gets stuck in, does a damn good job. I just love watching him play. I was worried when we sold Deck. Now we've got him, I'm not worried at all. He's excellent.
Do you know what I love about him as well? Is when he drops into that back 3, just goes in between Zuma and Aguerd or whoever's playing, and he just adds that extra person who someone can pass to. And then, like you said, he has got that killer pass, and we'll move on to him in a minute. When you've got Paqueta and Ward-Prowse and Emerson, who's comfortable on the ball, it just makes it look so much easier as well.
Yeah, I think that's the massive point there, Andy. It's another. No disrespect to Souček, as I said, but when you I call it the Declan Rice experiment. When you had the Declan Rice experiment and you expected Souček to do something that he can't do. He's not a prolific passer of the ball. He doesn't have that in his locker. And I know some people will turn around and say, well, he shouldn't be a bloody Premier League footballer then. But he's got other arrows in his quiver that are better than that passing.
Goal scoring.
He's a goal-scoring midfielder. He likes to get forward, and when you remove that from him and try and force upon him to do the weaker aspects of his game, of course, he's going to stand out as being awful. Of course, he's going to, not touch the ball X amount of times in the first half compared to others. It's going to be one of them things. But with Alvarez coming in, like you say, players now that are confident and comfortable on the ball and can pass, that are not Souček, as you've said. Aguerd, okay, looks a bit ropey and has a ricket in him every game or so, but he's comfortable when passing. He's comfortable on the ball and passing the ball out. Zuma the same. Emerson, as you said, Andy, I think he's gone right under the radar as to just how good he is. So yeah, that's all right. So I'm just over the moon that we've got a solid player now that sits, holds, and just like you say, Andy, even when he doesn't drop into that back 3, but when he's there, he gives us some security, and it certainly, when he plays, it certainly boosts my confidence of being able to defend a lot better than we previously have done.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So now we're moving on to, remember this sculpture from Jared Bowen? That seems a long way away. And 1-1 draw, first Premier League game. Unfortunately, we didn't hold on. Solanke scored, but I think this was the biggest turning point for our season. Was this game was when Moyes pretty much confirmed that Areola is our number one in the Premier League, and since then I don't think we haven't looked back. And I think that was the major turning point, in my opinion. Obviously, Bowen's goal was class, but I think since then we haven't looked back.
I think Areola's been excellent.
Yeah, carry on, Steve. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just think Areola's been excellent. And, I know Fab got a bit stroppy about being dropped, and rumour is he wants to leave in January. But Areola's a great keeper. He's younger. He's the future. I'm not saying Fab's a bad keeper, because I think Fab's a really good keeper.
Yeah.
But Areola's... some of the saves he made against City kept us in it. Okay, we lost 3-1 in the end, but Areola was exceptional that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these are the sort of games that last season, the year before, a couple of years, these are the sort of games we wouldn't be drawing. We'd go 1-0 up, we'd sit back and defend, and we'd concede 2. You talk about Areola, and I just think he's been, as you said, Andy, the announcement before this that, Areola was going to be the number one. The fact that, Fabianski has come out and said, I didn't like the way I was told. And then, I was watched the game, and I think I said it in the match review that we did. Bukayo Saka scored a very similar goal for Arsenal on the same day. Oh, the day after, sorry, for Arsenal. And his goal was described as a wonder strike. A wonder strike. Whereas Jarrod Bowen's was described as a good goal. They were the same goals. It's just one place for Arsenal and one currently for the European champions. So, bit frustrating, but I think we showed
fair, in Deck's defence, he came out and somebody said, to him, great Deck, nobody's talking about the price tags. And he said, it's just everything I did for West Ham last season. He said, just nobody took any notice.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it a lot on social media, to be honest with you. And I'll be honest with you, it's not just Arsenal fans, it's football pages as well in general that are coming out and saying just how good Declan Rice is. And you've got West Ham fans in the replies saying that he's doing nothing different. He's not doing anything different for Arsenal than he did for West Ham last year, apart from at West Ham, he was probably carrying the team largely at points. But he didn't get the recognition he deserved because he was at West Ham. It's just a joke.
Boys, just to let you know, I've got to hop off in 20 minutes. The hospital's calling me, called into Janny. Why this time of night? I've no idea, but there you go.
And if you need to go do that, mate, and then if we're still here, you can come back.
Okay, I'll do that.
Go on, mate. We'll carry on, and then if you can.
Minutes time. So.
All right, mate. No worries.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine.
Yeah, cool.
And then moving on after that game, obviously it was a well-earned point. The most important signing of our summer, in my opinion, is the signing of this man, James Ward-Prowse. And before anyone talks, I would like to give his stats in all competitions: 9 appearances, 2 goals, 6 assists, and 801 minutes already in a West Ham shirt. What a player.
Go on, Steve, you take the start on this one.
Well, I wasn't sure because of his age. Cool, how wrong was I? What a player. What an absolute class act.
Just confirm, he's 28, isn't he? 28 years old?
Yeah, he's 29 November, I think.
Yeah.
But how he's not getting in the England team, I just don't know.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant. Every time we get a corner, you think he's going to put this on a sixpence for someone.
Yeah, Free
just-
kicks in
he's just
and around the box
spectac-
as well, isn't it?
Yeah, spectacular player. And hats off to David Moyes. He wanted him, he got him, and boy was he right. You know, love him. Great player.
He's a very graceful player. I've been over to the stadium a couple of times this season already, and to watch him play, it seems like he looks like he really enjoys himself, but it makes it look so easy. Passing range is fantastic. He's, the two occasions I've been, we've got free kicks on the edge of the box, and I'm there with my phone ready to try and, get footage of the first direct free kick goal that Ward-Prowse scores for us. We're going to be covering it in a couple of slides' time, Andy. But you talk about his assists. The first one came in the home game, didn't it, against Chelsea, which we'll talk about in a second. But from then on, like Steve says, every time he has a corner, we're like, it's like having. I know he wears the same number, but his accuracy. We talk about David Beckham, the Netflix documentary. If anyone's watched it, it's fantastic. And if you haven't, watch it. But people need to remember this guy is one goal from a free kick, direct free kick goal, away from leveling David Beckham's Premier League record.
It's mad, isn't
it? From free kick goals. Yeah, he's a special player, and yes, okay. There's no sell-on fee, which is what we're trying to go down with players that we're signing. We're looking for the ones that have some sort of sell-on value. He doesn't have that. I mean, the 3 years with us puts him at 31, 32 going on. So there isn't going to be that sell-on fee that we get the double your money kind of thing for him. But to be honest with you, if he keeps performing like he's performing and he keeps putting up stats of 8 goal involvements in 9 games, and he does that for the rest of the season, mate, I wouldn't want to sell him regardless.
No.
Evening Trudge.
No, he's worth every penny we paid for him, and I hope he finishes his career with us. He's brilliant.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's move on to the game. You sort of mentioned it. It was our first home game in the season. If I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't see this coming. If I'm being perfectly honest, this result. After all the money what Chelsea splashed out, I think I was confident in the preview. But when you see the likes of Sterling, who always turns up, but it just proves, like what you mentioned, James Ward-Prowse's delivery, and we didn't really step back, and it just shows our resilience because obviously we went down to 10 men as well. And I picked this celebration is obviously the rumours of. I should have put that as a different slide actually, but we can talk. Obviously, rumours about the betting scandal just come out, I think, just before this game.
The day before, wasn't
it? Yeah, and then you just see. Did you notice as well when he pulled his shirt up before he took the penalty, so Betway wasn't there as well? Did you notice that? He lifted his shirt up, so Betway wasn't there. But I know he's going to leave eventually. I know he is going to leave eventually. But the passion what he shows for this club at the moment, and especially with that goal there, he topped off a tremendous performance and a 3-1 win against our London rivals as well.
Okay, I'm going to say this. He should leave at some point. He's excellent, Paqueta. But you do wonder, we've stood by him during this. I think he strikes me as the type of person that will mean a lot to him, actually.
Yeah.
The betting allegations, notwithstanding by our player. And it wouldn't surprise me if he feels an awful lot of loyalty to West Ham for that. Whether that makes a difference.
Even the way Man City pulled out, don't you?
Yeah.
Listen. Man City could have bought him. We wanted 95 million pound for him, and rightly so. The City could have bought him regardless of kind of these allegations in front of him, and there probably would have been a way to safeguard their investment, the money that they would have spent on on bringing him a proof of the pudding. Since the allegations came out, he still managed to play 6, 7 other games, 8 games. So for me, was it a smoke screen? Was it a kind of smoke screen to stop him actually leaving in this, the summer window?
The other thing is, and this I'll say about him, even when it looked like the City transfer was going to go through, he still gave 100% on the pitch for West Ham.
Oh, massively, yeah.
A huge respect for him, actually, in that, possibly the biggest club of the world are trying to buy me, and I would like to go, but I'm still going to give it everything I've got in a West Ham shirt while that's going on. That takes.
And as fans, that's all we ask.
Yeah.
Is a commitment to play for the cause. Regardless of how good you are. I mean, there's been players out there that weren't overly talented and blessed with an abundance, but they gave everything they had, and we certainly didn't dig them out as we did with some players that just rocked up, huge talent, but didn't really give two shits about the club, the fans, or anything else. So, evening, Luke. For me, it's the rumours are that we're trying to tie him down to a new contract, and we're trying to remove this £85 million release clause that comes into play at the end of this season. So, if you don't know, there is an £85 million release clause. It was inserted in the deal when Paqueta signed. 18 months ago now?
That long.
That he could leave if we received an £85 million bid. That's his minimum release, but it doesn't go live until the end of this season. So if if the rumours are to be believed, the club are now trying to tie him down to a contract that in length matches Jared Bowen's. Chances are he will leapfrog Jared and Danny Ings and I believe Kurt Zuma as the three highest paid players at the club. I heard some numbers being bandied around. You could be looking at 175 to 200 grand a week, but we're trying to remove the minimum £85 million release clause. So, I think in the grand scheme of things, if we don't get that release clause put in, I think I won't be concerned if he does leave for 85 million. And the reason I say this is the same with all the talk of before he signed, and we'll get to that again in a minute. But Bowen leaving the club, and again, I wasn't concerned with the fact that these players may or may not be leaving, because I only have to look at what Steidten does, the money from the Rice and the Skamaka, Vlasic deals, that what he brings in will be a fit and it will work. So I'm not concerned. If he gets £85 million for Paqueta, I'd be thoroughly looking forward to seeing what Tim Steidten can do with that money and what he'd bring in, to replace. So, yeah, again, I'm not overly fussed, but I don't want to lose him. No, I think we've got to try and keep players like him. But again, like you say, Andy, if one of the best clubs in the world comes knocking on the door and they want to sign you, then it's very difficult to turn your head. Like the Barcelona side of the mid '90s, you could Thierry Henry couldn't do it. The early they came in late '90s, early 2000s. Thierry Henry was at Arsenal, bona fide Arsenal legend. But Barcelona have come calling. He couldn't say no. He didn't say no.
What do you make of that comment, though?
No. See, I think I don't think that's the case. I'll tell you what I do find interesting was one of the female footballers. Can't think of her name now.
Alex Scott.
Was it Alex Scott that came out and said about Mikel Arteta had a word with Pep to put in a bid and then say, right, we're going no higher, that's it. And then Arsenal could swoop in, knowing that no one else was going to put in the, West Ham have been told it ain't happening, so there's no one else coming in as a higher bid than Arsenal's is going to be. So I wouldn't say that they came in because they got revenge. It weren't a case. Listen, if we received a bid from Manchester City that we felt was adequate, and if Declan Rice was happy to go there, then that would have been the case. He would have gone to Manchester City. Manchester City would have come in and Declan Rice bangs on about wanting to win trophies and play in the big games, then he would have done that at Man City. There's no other guarantees in the world where you're going to pick up a trophy. So I think it was more the fact that Declan Rice had meetings with Arteta and Arsenal in the from January onwards, which I've already discussed on this. I'm not going to go into it again. But yeah, I think if it wasn't for the fact that he'd promised Arteta, he would have gone City. So I don't think City are doing it.
And if City really wanted Rice, they'd have got him. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't want to. They didn't really want to pay 100 million to Grealish, but they did. So no. Anyway, next one. What's the news about this one?
Go on, Steve.
Go on, Mavropanos. I think I love watching him on the ball. He's really good on the ball. He's a bit of a beast, isn't he? I like him again. And I think for me at the moment, with a Gerd throwing in the odd mistake here and there, I might be tempted to start him, see how he does. But no, I really like this bloke again. Another great signing, in my opinion. He's a ball-playing centre-back built like a tank. There aren't many of those around.
He scored some worldies as well for Stuttgart, so I'm waiting for one of them as well.
Yeah, I think he's great. Again, another thumbs up from me.
Yeah, he's one of them players that the moment we were linked with him, I kind of went, yeah, he's the sort of player I can see us. I can see us signing because of the link with Steiden from Germany. So he was definitely one that I was just like, yes, But I think Luke's just said there, which I know. Again, the rumor mill on social media goes to town, and Zuma was linked. No, Gerd was linked with Saudi Arabia before the window shut, and Zuma's the one now being linked with a mega money deal to the Pro League. So, and again, if I was to think about it, if you look back and watch the games, you can see that near enough every game so far this season that Zuma's played in, there's been a limp.
So I'm not averse to Zuma
he's only got one knee. So, I mean, if they came in with a big money offer for Zuma, 50, 60 million quid, I'd probably say yes, knowing that we've got Mav to look back for as backup for us. I think, and then with that sort of money, let's start and go do his business.
Yeah, I'm as much as I love Kurt Zuma, he is broken. I mean, I was listening to something very interesting the other day. When Mark Overmars joined Arsenal, the medical team said, look, he's got these issues. You can get 2 seasons out of him, and then you'll have to move him on. And they got 2 seasons out of him. He went to Barcelona, and effectively that injury that Arsenal had identified finished him. So West Ham will know how much more we can get out of Zuma.
Yeah.
And every
Yeah,
season,
but
it
we've
just
got the
looks-
backup then, haven't we?
Yeah.
With regards to the question, did Mavropanos play? He played 90 minutes against Ireland. So he played 90 minutes, and I think he's probably playing. I think they probably play tomorrow. I think so. We'll have to look out for that. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll move on to the next slide. Oh, sorry, Luke. They're probably commenting on the other channel, mate. That's probably why we're putting them up. We're streaming across live on both channels, so that might be why, mate. It's nothing. No settings we've changed. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not you, mate. We so what we're doing now is, as Andy just explained, we've managed to link up the extra time channel and the original Forge of Mine West Ham channel. So we stream through both at the same time. So if you're watching on the Forge of Mine normal channel, you're not going to see the comments that we're putting up that we get on the extra time channel, or vice versa. So that'll be what that is, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the most surprising result I think we're going to have all the season. I think everyone would agree with our unlucky 13 record going into this game when we travelled to the Amex, and this was Moyes ball at its finest. James Ward-Prowse getting his first goal, Bowen's world-class finish, and Antonio was on fire that day. Obviously, after his goal at Chelsea the week before, I thought it was an amazing performance, and Alvarez's first start, I believe, in the Premier League, that was, and an Areola masterclass. I'll let you guys carry on. Sorry, I thought I'd just get it out there for everyone as a reminder.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, mate. Listen, I watched this game last year with a couple of friends. The same, the same game last season. Hi, Sharky. And I was dreading it. I was dreading it. I was dreading this game coming round again. It was on TV. It was one of them. I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen again. And then, as you say, Ward-Prowse gets his first. Absolute weldy from Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
And I say weldy, it's the touch, it's the pass, the touch, and the finish. If that's scored, and I'm going to do it, if that's scored by, let's go back a number of years, that's scored by Dennis Bergkamp for Arsenal, we're still talking about that goal now. In the same vein that we talk about Di Canio's volley, if that's scored by anyone from the top six, Sky Sports News are going to be looking like that meme from South Park where they're sitting in front of their monitors covered in whatever it is that they're covered in. So that's that's how good that it was, a good goal. And then when you look at the stats, just really
it's like 20% possession we had. Wasn't it? Is it 20% or something?
It makes a mockery. At one point in the game, I think for a 15-minute period, we had something like 6% possession. The stats make a mockery of the scoreline, or the scoreline make a mockery of stats. Sorry, but it didn't matter. I mean, we've gone now. We literally went, well, go on then, and when they did, we opened them up with precise passes, and it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. One of my favourite days of recent years, outside of anything in Europe.
Yeah, I haven't got anything to add. I was gobsmacked by that result and delighted. And also, it was on James's bucket list for us to eventually beat Brighton, and he saw it. So, James was 18; he'd never seen us beat Brighton.
Bad, isn't it?
I know,
Absolutely.
but brilliant game, brilliant result, very unexpected. And after 3 games, we had 7 points. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Well, a lot of people didn't, mate. A lot of people didn't have us down to pick up our first points for probably their first 5 or 6 games. So
Yeah.
for us to have 7 from 3 and then continue, carry on the form, as it were, and we'll cover those again. It's just outstanding, mate, when you look at it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's move on to that one. Oh, there's a bit of controversy. Luke's starting a fight in the comments.
Yeah, no, Luke's had words with me before about his. We were in a group chat, and I do bang on a lot about the bias of the Sky Sports top 6/7, 6+1 if you include Newcastle now. But without trying to sound like a broken record, it is there. It does exist.
Yeah, that was the perfect comment though. Villa tore them a new backside, didn't they, the other week?
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to the next one. Next one is it. The next day, we signed this man, Mohamed Kudus. Yeah.
I'll comment, and then I'm going to disappear.
Okay, mate. Go on then. Go for it, mate.
He's going to be better than Paqueta. Big statement. That the bits I've seen of him, I think he'll end up being a better player than Paqueta. I think he's brilliant, and his goal against Newcastle. You can underestimate. He's just taken a shot from outside the box, but the control and the timing and the finish was world class. Actually, that was a really difficult goal to score. And yeah, I actually think that lad will be classed as world class in the next couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be outstanding.
He's got so much strength. It's ridiculous. Like no one can get the ball off him. It's
his ball control's unbelievable. And he's got the flicks, he's got the passes, and he's got great vision and a good footballing head. Yeah, he's something really special, that lad.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to seeing. Go on, Steve.
At that point, boys, I'll try and knock back later.
No worries, mate. Take care, man.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
No, I was going to say is I've really liked what I've seen from this guy. I was there for the top of the game when he scored 2. One was obviously taken off of him after that. And I watched him against Newcastle, and he plays with no fear. Yeah, I think is a good way of putting it. He's happy to have the ball at his feet. He's happy to run at people. He's happy. He welcomes challenges. That sounds really stupid as a former player. No one really wants to get tackled or put himself in a situation where they possibly get hurt. But he welcomes challenges because he rides them so well. His desire to get up the pitch and drive forward and put us on the attack is phenomenal. Trod said it. We've finally got a finisher with pace. And Luke says he'll be our number 9 before the season's out. I do believe if you're going to play Villa this weekend after seeing what Antonio did against Liverpool, after seeing what he did against Freiburg, I'd even throw in Sheffield United in next. I don't think he was great. And then seeing what even Newcastle, in fact, and then you bring Kudus into the equation. I'd like to see Kudus start on Sunday, but I just think he's a phenomenal talent. And again, thank you to Mr. Stryden for the work that he did to bring him in. I do love a big lad who likes to ride a tackle. It's double entendres.
For any new people watching, if anyone wonders what we're doing, I should have maybe put the dates up. Basically, I'm doing a timeline of our season, so it's the orders when it happens. So if you see us referring back, it's like a timeline. So I can't remember the precise. This was announced obviously I think it was it the next day after Brighton we signed him?
After the Brighton game, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I'm doing it in that order for anyone who is watching. I maybe should have said that at the start as well. Moving on to transfer deadline day. A tricky game. That I remember this one. Obviously, Bowen and Zuma there with the goals. Obviously Luton's first home game of the season. I was expecting it to be very cagey, but I couldn't. Last season we would have probably lost that, or the season before. It just proves our desire. What a ball from Paqueta for Bowen's goal, and another James Ward-Prowse masterclass set piece and a Zuma header.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a game that could have been an absolute banana skin. It was. It literally had, the atmosphere of a cup game. You know, their first game back at Kenilworth Road in the Premier League. They rebuilt the stadium or the stands, or one stand anyway, to get them kind of, get the stadium up to scratch and up to standard. And then, Andy, we made it difficult for ourselves at points.
Yeah.
You talk about the goal from Bowen, the ball. For me, the highlight of the game was the West Ham fans leaving the stadium and going, "We can see you in the bath." I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. But again, as you said, it's a game last season, maybe the season before, and certainly in the seasons leading up to where we are now. It's a game we would have lost. It's a game we would have lost. We would have shit ourselves when they started putting the pressure on us. So I'm just pleased we got out of Dodge with the 3 points.
Yeah, Sharky, I didn't actually go to that. I didn't have enough points, but I've been there before. My mate's a Luton season ticket holder, and he says it's good atmosphere. I think it holds only like 10,100 or something like that. Actually, I've been there for when we played. I think when we was in like the same thing as the under-23s or something. I remember going there as well. But yeah, no, it's very random. They're hoping to get their new stadium in like 2 or 3 years. I think it's like 25,000 in the city centre. It's going to be like a shopping centre and that. So they'll be moving from that stadium shortly as well. So, but yeah, no, I've heard it's a good time there, mate. Obviously, this happened, mate. The new additions to our squad, obviously. Heitiner, I wasn't expecting that, but obviously he was key as well. The Ajax connection. Don't know too much about the one on the left. I can't remember his name now. How terrible is that? But obviously they. I feel I'm happy that these new additions, they've not put a foot wrong so far, really, have they?
No, I mean, listen, Johnny Heitinger worked with Moyes, didn't he, at Everton? Robson was promoted from the youth setup, if my memory serves. So, there was talk that he was going to be leaving, but he was obviously then promoted to the first team as coach alongside Moyes. And I just think we've not looked back. There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, over the last, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months of all the first team coaches that are walking out the door, that are going on to other things. And again, there's talk today of another Moyes key man is Anthony is noticed to leave. So it's good to see that this has worked out. The stability's back. Irving's gone, and the other coaches that were there as well, Pierce, and it's just, for me, I'm just really happy that things have settled down. Things have got to a point where the stable base is back. We're solid again. So. Yeah, looking forward to see what follows.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. Definitely. Let's move on to the next one. Is the 3-1 game.
You've got to score around the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah, my bad. got a bit excited, didn't
I didn't
I?
pick that up earlier, mate.
Yeah, no. Well, we'll quickly move on about that. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse got the go. We'll quickly move on.
Well, to be honest with you,
Well, to-
just I'll go back to it. I'll talk about it. I don't think we played too badly. To be fair, I mean, couple of silly mistakes, couple of, mix-ups. It weren't awful. I did turn down tickets. I planned to see my brother's team play that day, and for those that don't know, my brother's a manager of a local football club, and started very brightly. He's played. He's played 9. He's won 7, including 2 cup games, and he's only lost 2 games. One of them was that day when he lost 4-0. So West Ham lost 3-1 to Man City. My brother's team lost 4-0. It really was a shit afternoon, to be honest with you. But no, he was. I'm not overly fussed. Listen, many teams are going to get turned over by Man City this season. Many teams are going to struggle. Many teams are probably going to give them a run for their money.
But that's save from Edison from Zuma. If that goes in, totally different game at 1-0.
But then, and again, there'll be another game coming up, and we'll talk about goalkeeping. It's just fantastic saves. Wins games. It does win games. We saw that with on the road to the Conference League, and even in the year before when we were playing in the Europa League. I think we were away, Lyon maybe, and Areola makes that big save, in the game. So, it's big saves will win you games, and big goalkeepers will win you games, and
exactly.
Fortunately, Areola has done that, and Edison did that for them. But listen, like I say, our season isn't going to be defined by within probably 4 or 5 teams. We're not going to have our season defined by them.
Yeah, no, exactly. We'll move on to that game, mate. The first game of Europa League, game 1, back at Topola. We'll quickly briefly talk about this game. We made a meal of it, obviously, but Kudus being finally awarded. So he did get 2 goals for us that night. They finally awarded to him. Yeah, they got awarded that. And obviously James Ward-Prowse again with 2 assists. And I know Ogbonna played in the Brighton game, but do you think, as what people are saying, do you reckon he's getting further? Is Ogbonna now 5th choice now, do you think, for the centre-back position now?
Yeah, I mean, he made a mistake, didn't he, for their goal, and kind of really put a rocket up our arses, to be honest with you, because we didn't look good. This was the game I went to, took the 2 kids, and it.
How was your shower?
What?
The shower, the flooding.
Mate, I remember that. Yeah, I was under the. I stayed at, where you go across the bridge and you get you get wanded, didn't you? I stayed up there with the 2 kids while it absolutely fucking pissed down. I even turned around and said to the kids, "Get ready for the canal to overflow because that's going to come up to where we are. The amount of rain come down."
Mad, wasn't it?
and the videos and the pictures of inside the concourse, if you will. What people have got to realise is it's all open. The inside of the stadium is all open. You only get shelters. It's only shelters that are put up, even around the edges above you. There's no roof or ceiling to that bit. So when it rains, it's not pretty. But no, the game itself, I mean, Sharky says it there, that the team quality showed. We came out the other side of it. It was a bit of a nervy few moments, but I had no doubt we were going to win. And like you say, two assists. He got the 2 goals. So yeah, I'll be honest. I'm happy.
It could have been a banana skin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's the easiest game on paper in the group. Us at home to Topola. But I was happy. We got out on top. I just want to come to this one. Definitely him listening to him waffle on. I won't say the pub out of respect. Well, I will. It's the Lewisham Tavern. You can all see me, but I can only see your name there as Colonel Ward. Give us your name so I know who you are, so I can bar you when you come in.
That's what you're going to do now, mate. The IDs, no, show me your YouTube ID, not your driving license. Obviously, mate, because obviously last season we finished like terribly, in my opinion. In the well, you say terribly, our league position. The last few games at the end of the season, we didn't do too bad, and eventually we stayed up. But the main reason was after a European game we struggled. But this season it's not been as bad. We put the performance in at Liverpool, but I won't go too much. We'll talk about the penalty incident and stuff, and obviously Bowen getting on the score sheet. We are fighting a losing battle against the Sky 6, well, Sky 7, you should call them now. But if that penalty happens, obviously it's that chance. But if we get the results around the teams in the bottom 10, I wouldn't say I'm not too fussed because I'd love West Ham to win every game, but these games you've just sort of got. We've won there once in the last 45 years or whatever it is. So I wasn't expecting it, was it? Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. It's one of them games, as I said earlier, and our season isn't going to be defined by playing teams like Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, even Spurs this season, which makes me feel sick. Although I do love Big Ange. We're not going to be defined by those. Is games like Villa, Palace, Brighton, Chelsea.
Yeah.
These are the games that are going to define us. These are the games where we need to be winning if we want any chance of being able to qualify for that top 6, top 4.
Yeah.
The top 4 got the top 4 got harder to qualify once Newcastle were obviously bought by the Saudis to create that block of 7 up there. So it makes it harder now to break into the top 4. So it's I completely agree with her. And I said it before, and I'll run it through it quickly again because obviously we're on the subject of Liverpool and being part of that. I did say before that the Premier League is a brand. All right, it's a branding. Premier League is a brand. It's got a bloody good sponsor as a brand in Sky Sports. So Sky Sports do their best to promote that brand, and the best teams that are in that brand are obviously what we consider to be the top 6 because that's the way it is. Of course it is. These guys are the ones with the most money, the best players that are up there challenging year in, year out for honours, be it cups or the league itself. Now, as with any brand, you want your top products being the ones that are seen by most around the world. So the Premier League and Sky Sports as the sponsor and the primary sponsor of the Premier League, it gives a lot of money to the Premier League. So therefore, they don't care what anyone says. If you have that sort of money going in, if you're paying that sort of money, you will have a seat at the table and your voice will be heard. It's in the same way as the American presidential elections. You're telling me that if the NRA, the National Rifle Association, give Donald Trump, £200 million war chest to use for advertising and campaigning, that they won't get a say? What you're telling me that he's now going to turn around and go, okay, we're gonna ban guns. Well, hang on a minute. We gave you 200 million quid. If we'd known now to start, we wouldn't have given you the 200 million quid. It's the same with the Premier League. It really is. The Premier League now, they're sponsored by Sky Sports. That's just that. Of course, that's what it is. Sky Sports is synonymous with the Premier League, and they will do what they can to keep their top products in in the top part of that table. So whenever it's viewed, those top.
But
top
look how
seven-
high. But talking of that, how high? Bowen's probably jumped as high as what me and you probably can do combined there in that photo.
Mate, mate, I can't even get myself that far off the floor. Have you seen my stomach? Right? And if the only way I get up off the floor that high is if I climb up on a bunk bed and roll off. Oh no, I jumped, honestly.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, no, like you said, we could probably do our own show on talking about the referees, and I think we'll go on a rant for a game further on. But yeah, a game where we don't win and we move on. But this one, this was nearly a bananas. Yeah. Same old. And we'll talk about the strikers, mate.
We go away at clubs like this, and Steve, who obviously has jumped off, he came here a couple of years ago, just after I started at the tavern, and we watched Kidderminster away.
Yeah.
And again, it was the same thing, mate. It was the same thing. Obviously, this wasn't on TV. It wasn't streamed anywhere. I listened to it on the radio. I was actually at Lewisham Community Football Club watching them. They won. And I was listening to obviously West Ham on the radio, and as Trod says, Lincoln were brilliant. They bossed us. We were lucky. And I think you were going to mention something about Mr. Ings, were you?
Yeah, obviously you saw that. I've only saw the highlights of the misses there, and you see Mubama. Obviously, he come on, I think, with half an hour to go. But there's one here as well. It's Ben Johnson. I never want to see him in the shirt again, mate. Like, it's just embarrassing. Like, when you got Ollie Skiles and Casey, etc., in the under 18s and under 23s now, smashing it, and people like him. What harm would have that done? Putting Skiles or Casey in for that game, mate. Realistically, nothing, would it?
And to be fair, I think we probably would have done better because they've got points to prove. Whereas players like Danny Engine, who's already had a career, he's got nothing to prove. He hasn't got to prove to boys that he should be at the club. Whereas, these kids, they do. Although there is someone in that picture that has been given chance after chance and time again. Well, two of them, in fact. I'm looking at them now. Time after time and chance after chance to prove themselves as being good enough to play for West Ham. They constantly let us down. You talk about the two boys, Caelan Casey, Skulls, Orford, any of that lot. They've got to show that they want to play. So for me, for me there was no point in not putting them in there. They couldn't have been any worse than what we watched or listened to, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, no, it's one of them things, and that's the only problem. I'm going to give credit to Moyes when I can. Obviously, he's got us the results, which we didn't expect. But games like this, he was there. You was there for the Youth Cup final. How much hunger, passion. Marshall's playing for Northern Ireland's national side, for God's sake. How can he not get in? Even him not get in and around this team is surprising. But I think I want to turn this into a review and not a rant.
Well, we're going to have the rants towards the end with regards to, where players should or shouldn't be coming in, and the way I'm looking at, the Europa League. It's going to be more difficult to bring some of the youngsters in like we would have done in the conference. It's easier to play a couple of kids. We tried it in the Europa League a couple of years ago, didn't we? And I think we slipped up.
That's
I understand what you mean, but this would have been the perfect game. But we got the win. We're through, and that's all that really matters.
This game was one of the most boringest games I've seen. Like it was good for like 15 minutes, and we got these 2 goals. And I think this is where I'm gonna not turn into a rant, but Moyes could have gone for that and could have got 8 like what Newcastle got at half time. He could have changed it up. Souček obviously got the goal and he was advancing forward. But what I mean is we could have put Paqueta more forward and brung someone else on. Do you know what I mean? Or more attacking, and we could have literally gone at them. But, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but fantastic goals, to be honest. Souček obviously getting that as well, but Bowen instant as always. But good sides win ugly, and I can't complain about like what Mark was saying here. Boring game, but you get the 3 points, and if 3 points is a difference at the end of the season, like you get it, bite your hand off it, wouldn't you?
Again, another game that we could have thrown away a couple of years ago, and it does show how far we're coming. It was a boring game. Wasn't pretty. How many times have we turned around and said, "Oh, City were crap in that game. City were awful, and they win 1-0." Arsenal,
they done it at Sheffield United at home, didn't they? They just about
They did. Sheffield United, I thought were quite good against them, but I think what happens, it's overlooked for us because we do play a lot of shit games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in days gone by, that would have been a game we lost, but we've won ugly. It's another 3 points on the board, and I think at this point, what was that? 10 points. 10 points from 5 games. I think people didn't have us having a point on the board after the Liverpool game. So to be on 10 points at this point was fantastic.
Yeah, and then obviously we had a longer break, which was surprising. We actually played on a Saturday 3 o'clock game, and then we flew out to Germany on the Thursday and got 3 points. Can I just talk about this header from Paqueta? What a goal this was. I watched that back about 4 or 5 times. Yeah. And the leap, what he done, if that's an Andy Carroll header, isn't it? Or an Ibrahimovic prime. Like, it's ridiculous how he managed to get up so...
When else does that header, you hear it again, it's one of them goals that if that's done by Ronaldo, everyone's banging on about the jump, the leap, and how a man gets that high, rudder. Well, someone else has done it, but nothing else was fucking made of it apart from by us.
And Bowen on his weak foot as well, right foot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I watched this in the pub, and there were points I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but we came out, didn't we? We got away with it. Again, it was one of them. I think for us, that's the hardest game of the group. Them for their hardest game will be us at the London Stadium. That'll be obviously easier. It'll be easier game for us because we're back at home. So that we've dodged it. We've dodged a bullet, and obviously that then made us give us the longest unbeaten run in Europe by any English side. 17 games unbeaten, and I get what people are saying. You're playing Farmers, you're playing this last season. You weren't playing the big boys. You can only play what's in front of you.
Exactly, mate. And another goal as well. Assist, from James Ward-Prowse and a Gued header, which was towering. So fair play to him. Yeah. So we're going to fast forward. Obviously, you've seen that now. We're going to talk about a game closer. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to talk about it last week, but more closer to home was Mohamed Kudus saving our life. It finished West Ham United 2, Newcastle 3. Joking, that's what they wanted. we done it, mate. We done it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Again, a game I went to. It has significant special meaning for me and my family. My granddad, on the Monday before this game, he'd been gone 20 years. He was born in Newcastle, big Newcastle fan. Him and 2 of his brothers, both big Newcastle fans. So I took my mum to the game, and she was joined by 2 of her brothers, again, both big Newcastle fans. So it was a big family affair at the London Stadium last week for this. And, Newcastle were coming off of the back of an absolutely fucking amazing result against PSG in the Champions League. I watched that game and I thought they were
They were unreal, weren't they?
phenomenal. I got a lot of time for what Newcastle have done. They've not just gone and flashed the cash, if you will. I know they've spent 300 million quid in 2 years, but so have we. What I will say about them is that what they've bought is what they've needed. It's not like they've gone out and just, spunked a load of money for having money's sake. They've actually looked and gone, okay, what's gonna improve us well? Okay, that player. Okay, we need someone to play that position. Okay, we need someone that plays like this. We've got this guy called Alexander Isak. It's going to cost us 60, 65 million quid. Do it. Go get him if that's what it's going to cost us to improve us and make us a Champions League side, which eventually it did. So I've got a lot of time for Newcastle. The guys in the chat are saying that the referee ruined it. Guimaraes should have been sent off after about 15, 20 minutes. The free kick that he missed, that he gave to Antonio, that led to their goal, was very similar to a free kick that we should have won earlier in the game but didn't get. Isak is offside in the first phase of play, which was only literally a second from the second phase of play, which is when Alvarez heads it. So he's still in an offside position when the initial ball is played in. It goes to VAR. Nothing's given. Of course, it's fucking not. They're one of the 7. Their second goal, if you actually watch it carefully, Isak pushes again in the back and makes him stumble. And by the time he recovers his footing, the ball's behind him and Isak's passing it into the back of the net. Referee did miss several big incidences in that game, and it is really frustrating that we're sitting here talking about that rather than what a good game.
The sending off, we win that game in my opinion. If Guimaraes gets sent off, like people go, it's harder playing against 10 men. They wouldn't have been able to deal with us. Like
they
we was
wouldn't
all
have
over them
been
in that
anything. They would have been able to handle us on the break.
No, 100%. And another fantastic build-up and play from Emerson, who's my player of the season so far. He has been probably since March. I've raved about him all the time.
Yeah.
But fantastic. And like you said, we keep saying it. Last season we lose that game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the ref, as Luke says, refs do make a lot of mistakes, but it's the hardest job in football for me. I watched the game. My brother's game on Saturday I went to. They lost 3-1. The other team celebrating throw-ons and tackles like they'd won the Premier League, and I'll be honest, I did start gobbing off at one of their substitutes. I called for a free kick. He turned around and said it ain't a fucking free kick. I said, if it was at the other end, mate, you're chatting for it. So why don't you shut up, knobhead, and fuck off. Scouse fella started giving me a load of jip back, to which Joe, my other half, turned around and asked me if I needed a translator because I couldn't understand a word the prick was saying. The referee walks over and asked me to move around the pitch away from their dugout. So I did so. I spoke to him at full time, and I've been in his ships. I've been a referee in games. I've refereed 11s and 5s. I've refereed cup games. I've refereed kids games. You were going to make mistakes, but it's the not just the quantity of mistakes. It was the types of mistakes he was making. I mean, he booked He booked Emerson for a yellow card. Yet Almiron does exactly the same. Nothing happens. So I just don't get. As he says there, the consistency is one of the most frustrating things with the referees, even with VAR. I mean, we saw the Liverpool one. It's embarrassing.
No, exactly, mate. And we'll move on. So we think our headlines are done for the day. And then the same day, we get this.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the pipeline, wasn't it? There was talk from X and Fabrizio Romano on the day before that in principle this contract had been agreed, and for me it's huge. There were people that were likening it to the Declan Rice thing. Just remember that Declan Rice was offered exactly the same deal, if not a little bit more money, on the same length, and he turned it down to go off. Now, Jared Bowen, can. Well, no, I am going to say Jared Bowen will be a key man for going forward in the same way that was, if not maybe more important to the club. And the fact that he's decided to stay, and I know Gonzo over on Hammer's chat, I watched a couple of his videos, and he's talking about not just the signings of the players, but the contract signings of some of the kids. Caden Casey, I believe, has scored a new one, signed a new one. Sorry, Ollie Skulls signed a new one. I think 3 of the other kids signed a new one, and Bowen said one key word or one key phrase, shall I say, that was echoed by Kudus. It was echoed by the.
Sorry, Doug, to interrupt. Yeah, I think it was 6. You're right. Winston Reid got offered a 6-year deal. Yeah, sorry.
I was praying to God
mate.
that Bowen didn't end up with a Dean Ashton situation. But yeah, the phrase that was echoed by pretty much everyone signing a contract in the last 6 weeks or so was they signed on because of the exciting project that's happening here at West Ham, and that excites me. That excites me. That obviously there must be something going on, a project in place that's going to be happening, and long may it continue.
No, definitely, mate. There was a question actually. I'm going to nick it, and I'm going to give them a plug as well. I know everyone goes it's a paywall, but I pay for Dave and X's Patreon, not just because of the events. I love their podcast. The extra stuff they do.
Fantastic, yes.
And one of the questions what got asked, and I think this is a very good question, people in the chat as well. With regards to the youth, you could probably include some who've played. How many from our academy do you see being in the starting 11 in 4 years' time in the West Ham? So that includes Mabama, Potts, Scarles, Casey. Technically, one of the goalkeepers, maybe potentially.
If I say 4 years and squad.
Okay. Match day squad. Let's put it that way.
First team squad, and by that I mean they get minutes and regular minutes. I could say probably 6, 7.
Yeah.
I'd say Mubama will be there. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, he's already got minutes. Kelly, Marshall, Orford, Skulls, Casey, Batcham, the right back, looks very, very good. I like the look of him. Gideon Kajua, I absolutely love him. I think I might have just given you 8 or 9. And I can see them being.
Sorry, name them, Mark. Who you reckon?
Tell us who you think they are, Mark. I've given you mine. I've just reeled off an absolute shitload of names there. And what I will say to you is, of those names that I've mentioned,
Potts excites me. I've seen the goals he's scored.
I didn't even give you Potts, so that's probably. I've just given you 10. So Potts. So if we go backwards, I said Kajua, Mabama, Kelly, Marshall, Potts, Batcham, Skulls, Orford. There's 8. That's 8 without maybe even a goalkeeper. No, you're right, Mark. Not if Moyes stays, but I don't think Moyes is going to. But we'll deal with that on another video, and I'll give you my reasons for that on another video. Okay, but that's why I'm saying I've given you 8 names, and without even possibly going deeper into it and actually really stopping and thinking, I could probably give you another couple, but I'd say, and I'm excited for Marshall to come through.
Mate, he's rapid. He's fucking rapid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And like you said there, so mine are them three as well, and Scarles and Kadua for me. That they're mine. I think Casey's a bit hard to judge because he obviously still needs to grow. He needs to fill out a bit for a centre back, like sort of thing. If, in my opinion, but mate, there's so many.
Yeah,
That
without
Sharky
doubt.
could Oxford and Potts, Mabama. Skulls is the one who excites me the most, and it's because he plays in one of my hero positions, Julian Dick. So I always get excited when a left back comes on the scene.
Yeah, and we got a left back coming through.
Potts. Yeah, I was the same with Potts. When he played against Man United, I went, look, we've got the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was a big fan of Freddie's dad when he was at West Ham, Steve Potts. I called him Mr. Reliable. He was just a solid 8 out of 10 every week. Would bleed for West Ham if you cut him. He'd bleed claret and blue. I believe he's still at the club now.
Yeah, he's still in the youth setup. Yeah,
he's in the youth setup, isn't he? And then we had Dan come through, and I remember Dan took I think he played at Arsenal.
It was Old Trafford. It was at Old Trafford as well. When we played at Man United at home, didn't we? When Joe Cole scored 2, he played as well.
No, Freddie, Dan Potts, when Dan Potts played at Arsenal.
Yeah, Dan Potts. Oh, we played at Arsenal as well.
He played against Arsenal, and he got a big head injury. He took a very nasty knock on the head. He went down.
If it makes you feel old, mate, he's only 31 because he still plays for Luton. It come up on
he's at Luton,
like
I know, yeah.
No, I'm saying he's only 31.
Mad, isn't it?
I'm just, you know me, I love to wind you up. I love it, and I love winding some people up. Today was the day as well. 3 years since Saïd Benrahma signed, including the loan deal. And I'm going to give some stats because everyone loves a stat. So Saïd Benrahma's played 143 games for the club, 24 goals and 19 assists. But the one what I want to give out is where people say that was last season is Premier League. 1 second, I had it here. He had 35 games, 6 goals and 3 assists. So that was the most he had. In my opinion, it's not good enough. Like, I'm not going to. I know your opinions on him. I'm not going to sit here and turn into that. But people are acting. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for the penalty he scored in the final. But people are acting like he's a Jared Bowen, and I still don't understand it. He's not been given this. He's not. But look how much he's a better player. We've had to put Paqueta out on the left because he's not performing.
Listen, I can go back to a hidden video that's not on YouTube anymore that you and I partook in.
Yeah.
Over Benrahma, and I've been saying it. I've been saying it for 2.5 years, Andy. I said it. I said it during the lockdown. It was during lockdown. In fact, we were playing
Brighton.
Burnley. No, it was Burnley. It was Burnley, and I think he sets up the winning goal for what turns out to be the winning goal for Antonio, I think. But I remember his stats quite vividly from that game. He had 6 shots at goal, and he didn't test the goalkeeper once. Every single one of them.
Sorry, mate. Look at this. What Sharky's just put in. You had an argument with the national coach.
Yeah, but that's just him. I mean, listen, he frustrates me, as Marky Boy says underneath that comment. I've always said I feel like sometimes he lacks footballing intelligence. He doesn't know when to recycle the ball. He runs down a cul-de-sac and then has no fucking idea what to do with it, and then just dumps a ball into the box that isn't thought about, isn't quality.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go on.
Sorry. So I know it's a league below, but this just proves the numbers. So this is for Brentford. He played 94 games, 30 goals and 27 assists. Don't get me wrong, I know that's a championship, but that's a big step up. And like in my opinion, like he's done well in Europe. Like he scored brilliant goals. I remember one of the second or third when we was the first season in Europa League. He scored some crucial goals. He scored the goal in the final. I think he scored the free kick at home in the group stages. Let me get that. 11 appearances, 3 goals, and 1 assist in the Conference League. That's not good enough. That isn't good enough.
I mean,
Even in the
people going on about the money we've lost from the Vlasic deal, you know, and I said earlier it was £18 million and possibly a little bit more if, you know, with add-ons. We won a cup, okay, whatever. But we spent £28 million on Benrahma. And I know some people out there think he's, you know, this great player, and I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm just saying he's not a West Ham player. It's not good enough our return from him. And I'm going to put this out there, the same as Pablo Fornals this season. Again, I'm very grateful for what he did last year, the goal against Alkmaar, you know. But right now, I believe we've outgrown Benrahma. I believe we've outgrown Pablo Fornals. And with Steiden doing his bit, I think now's the time to, well, we probably should have already done so, but now's the time to move them on. Look to bring in someone else.
He's 28 now, Benny. He's 28.
Yeah,
he's just turned 28. So
we're only going to get £20 million for him. We're not going to get anywhere near back what it's just about fucking normal for us, to be honest with you. But yeah, he frustrates me. I want more. I think we deserve more as a football club than he's given us. I'm, as I say, forever grateful for the goal in the final. But no, I just sadly, I don't think he's not lived up to the hype and expectation that he had when he arrived.
I'm going to skip the next slide, people, and I'm going to save that for another video. Me and Duke are going to talk off air what we want to do, but I want to talk about.
I saw that. Yep.
I'll save that for another video because I've just been pressed for the time. We've been going for an hour and a half. Cresswell, mate. Obviously, he got that injury against what was it, Baka Taboa as well. I've heard he's not been right off the pitch. People are slagging the club off for not even giving him a testimonial if he does stay till the end of the season. In my opinion, he's 3 years too late. He hasn't performed well. But yeah, I just wanted your opinion and people in the chat. Would you even cancel his contract and just release him? If he's not going to play, just get rid of him.
I mean, listen, he's been a great servant. I saw some comments earlier in a group chat. I mean, Budgie, Green Street Elites, asked the question whether Prime Cresswell is better than current Emerson, and it's a difficult one because you got to remember his deliveries were fantastic back then, and it's sad to see it end the way it is at the moment. I mean, he essentially went on strike at the start of the season because he wanted to move to Wolves. He always knew he was going to be, you know, second fiddle to Emerson this season. We wanted to sell him, but we wanted £2 million for him. Wolves turned around and went, no, we want him on a free, but we'll do a kind of an add-ons based transfer fee. So if he plays X amount of games, he does this, does that, then you'll get your £2.5 million. And we weren't interested in you know, entertaining that. So I think, yeah, it's time for him to go. Listen, if he went on strike like he did, being a stroppy bastard because, you know, he couldn't get his own way. I'm not being funny. We had the same thing with Dawson, but Dawson knuckled down and cracked on before he got his move to Wolves and to go back north closer to family. You know, Dawson continued, even though he was let down because we told him we could go if we could get a replacement. Didn't get a replacement, he had to wait. I've got a lot of time for Dawson for that. Cresswell didn't do that, went on strike. For me, he's let himself down. Cracking servant for the club up until the start of this season. So, you know, I do believe he deserves some sort of testimonial regardless. The club won't do it because, you know, why would they?
Yeah, the most crucial thing is, mate, he's played 332 games for the club, 10 goals and 37 assists in all competitions. Like, you can't grumble on that. Like,
no, not at all. And that's what I say. I mean, the club allow fucking idiotic, and I'm going to embarrass myself here with this next statement, but they let idiotic YouTubers on to use the pitch. You know, during the last international break, when you had the fucking sidemen or whatever the fuck they're called. Not my cup of tea, but obviously everyone else's. But they're allowed to use the stadium. All right, it's not necessarily on our part, but what, we're not going to let one of our longest servants to have a testimonial. You know, so Mark says here, okay, so my mate's dad drinks with Cresswell's dad, and his dad does not speak right of West Ham, and says he wanted out last season way before we won the conference. Well, listen, if he wants out, then, you know, how old is he? 34?
So, yeah, I think he's 34 in a couple of months, I think.
33, 34. Well, listen, there's no sell-on value. Then let him go. You know, just cancel that contract or let him go on a free. You know, I know it makes it a little bit more difficult because it's a homegrown player that's leaving the club and, you know, rather. But if he doesn't want to be there, then let him go.
You know, exactly. Well, that was my slideshow. Thank you for everyone who participated. I know a few people will probably watch it back. I didn't realise. I think it clashed with another couple of strings, which obviously can't be helped. I did make a promise, and I will make a promise. On Wednesday, I will be back with my breakfast show. That will probably be a roundup of all the internationals, to be perfectly honest, just to give everyone an update of the second round of fixtures and stuff like that to keep people occupied. I'm off to Villa Park on Sunday, but we'll definitely be doing a preview for that, but I can't confirm the days. And we keep saying it as well. Hammer Time will come back. It will be back.
Well, I was about to say that we're gonna pencil in a proper date, an actual date to begin that. So we tie ourselves down because we keep saying we'll do it, and we just never. To be fair, we just never get round to it because, as we've said prior, you know, sometimes life gets in the way. So we will pencil in a return date for that. We'll stick it up on both channels and across our social media when we do. We'll give you a couple of weeks' notice. I will put out there now, actually. I said it before, and I am back in contact with the former player about a Thoughts from Iron presents former player here at my pub at the Lewisham Tavern. I think I'm probably going to have about 40 to 50 tickets available for the event. Not quite sure what date it's going to be, but I am looking at the possibility of Sunday. It's going to be a £5 a ticket. I'm going to cover to get it going. I'm going to cover most of the costs myself. You know, the player's fee. From the player's fee, maybe putting the player up over a night in a hotel, and hiring some chairs for the pub. But that's going to be coming up. Hopefully, we're going to get it in before Christmas. I can't make any promises, but for those of you that may or may not want a ticket, hit us up on the channel. Let us know on. Is it Carlos Sanchez? Luke, you know who it is. I've already told you in the chat. Behave yourself. Don't mention it on here. So yeah, if you're interested and it's something you might want to do, let us know. Let me or Andy know in, Twitter handles, X, whatever the fucking thing called nowadays. Drop us an inbox. Drop us a message on there, Facebook, whatever. And we'll do our best to let you know when the tickets go on sale, what date it's going to be, and hopefully you can join us for a Forged from Iron Presents. That'd be banging.
I just realised it's because I'm using another laptop that I actually don't have my Twitter handle in the name. Thanks for noticing that.
Oh, there you go. Mine's in there, so it's not the end of the world. And you've got, Forge for Mine Extra Time and Forge for Mine West Ham United. That's you can drop the messages to one of those. Wolf, again, I know it is something that we're looking at trying to do. It's difficult because again it comes down to the diaries and the match up and people being available for each other and making sure that we can sign up. Marky boy, next time I'm on, we'll figure out a way and we'll exchange numbers or something, and we can get in touch that way. Yeah, we'll figure a way out, mate. If you want to come and
we'll send you a link. We'll send you a link to the stream or something, so you click on that on your phone, and then you'll be able to talk or whatever. That'll be a way.
Talk to us directly. We'll work it out. Yeah, Wolf, as I was saying, it comes down to diaries. Andy knows the boys over at West Ham Fan TV. I know Scott over at West Ham Fan TV, when we first started the original, the first Forge channel. Myself and Rob, I spent some time with Scott, and he gave us some good tips and some good hints and stuff when we were talking to him. So, we can sort something out. I've met Gonzo and Gio, or spoke to Gonzo. We've had him on the channel a couple of times. Same with the boys over on West Ham Network. I met up with Anton and Russ at the Paolo Di Canio event that E13 events put on. And yeah,
Are you going to the Tony Cole one?
I'm not, unfortunately. I didn't get tickets. I do need to talk to you about the possibility of the Julian Dix one that we mentioned before.
Oh, that's not happening now. He's gone to America. He's going to it'll be rescheduled for the new year. He's going to America. He's doing some coaching and something.
Is he going over for a job?
Yeah, he's doing some coaching, I think. Do you know, like the academy, not like full time, like working for the club. It's like a. Do you know? I don't know what. I think it's with Jack Collinson, maybe. I don't quite remember.
Is he at LA or was it Vegas? Maybe.
Yeah.
One of those. What I will say, guys, is you'll notice that I talk about my brother's team quite a lot when we're on here. If any of you are, interested in keeping an eye out for his team and scores or whatever, but instead of waiting for me to jump on here and bore you to tears with it, he manages Long Lane JFC. They have their Twitter handle is at LL Firsts. So that is LL1 STS, Long Lane Firsts. And if you go on there, you can follow them, if you're about and you're local, Kidbrook playing fields is where they play. It could be interesting, and also I might be going back to Vets football, Andy.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I might just stitch myself right up and going back to play. But hey, it's all fun and games. Andy, anything you want to sign us off with, my man?
No, that's it, man. That's it. No, I will be back doing some stuff. Luke, no, definitely. You're more than welcome on any time. Obviously, you just
mate. I'd love to have you on. You're an absolute crack in the chat. A lot of laughs and stuff. So yeah, we'd love to get you on. Tell you what, I will promote while I'm here. Budgie over on Green Street Elites on YouTube. He does a show called The In Crowd where he interviews West Ham fans, ordinary fans like you or I. And he's got a show coming up. I believe it's Wednesday, Andy. I might be wrong. I don't think. In fact, do you know about it? Are you aware of?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who he's got. No.
He's got Nicola Caton.
Oh, cool.
He's got Isla's mum. So he's going to be interviewing her at the weekend. I will speak very highly of Budgie. He does a lot of good stuff, and obviously those that know Isla's plight over the before she passed. He's going to be interviewing her, so keep an eye out for that. Go over to Green Street Elite on YouTube and keep your eye out for that one, because I've got a feeling that's going to be quite an emotional interview that he's going to be doing there. So jump over there and give him a like and a subscribe. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. I think that's enough from us, Andy.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, guys, thank you, and guys and girls. I'm sure there was a couple of girls in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. It's good to be back. I'll be honest, I find doing videos on my own quite uncomfortable. So, it's kind of handy that our diary synced up to be able to do today. We will be coming back and giving you regular videos, as Andy said. Breakfast shows back. I'm going to attempt to overcome my camera shyness when I'm recording just me and looking at my ugly mug on the screen to try and bring you other stuff. We're going to get a date penciled in for Hammer Time, the review show. For those of you who remember that over on the other channel before, we're going to bring that back, and we're going to start where we left off, which I believe was the 2000 season, Andy, 2001.
We're in Glen. It's going to be Glen Roder's first season, I believe.
Was that
2001, 2000.
Yeah, the one after
Canio
volley, wasn't it? Yeah, so that's going to be back. We'll get that. So make sure you lovely people have subscribed to the channel with a bell icon on both channels, because we're going to be updating all of the content coming out. So make sure you don't miss any of it. And we'll see you again sometime down the road. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.
Take it easy, Andy. I'll catch you later, mate.
See you later. Bye.